Welcome to Workshop Wednesday. We are back and super excited for today because we're going to be recapping what you missed, but not everything, from our STR workshop we had last week. Welcome, Jana. Welcome, Jennifer.
Hello. Welcome. I cannot wait to talk today and give you guys some insider scoop on what we have talked through our very first interactive workshop when it comes to touring as well. It was amazing.
Yes, so let's just give everyone a quick overview of what just happened last week. We had 20 plus business owners, or it was a combination of business owners and investors, come out to our training center. We started off day one touring 4 different live short-term rentals. We had a 1-bedroom apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment, a single family rental, or a single family residence, and a lake house. So our group was actually able to go inside, tour the property. So we're thinking about the apartments. What's the walk score? What's around there? Why did we choose this? Who's going to come stay at this unit, right? Get to have the conversations. And to one of our members' points, I got to open all the drawers and look inside and see what you guys put in these short-term rentals, how you styled it from a staging company's perspective. And then we got to go to the single family residence that, how many people does that sleep, Jana?
So yeah, single family sleeps 12.
And then the lake house
is 8, very comfortably. We could have gone more, but we wanted to limit that space. And they also got to tour our amazing facility, our training center at Model My Home, walk through the warehouse, see over $1 million of inventory on shelves that we style these properties with. I'm telling you, it was a full packed workshop, master workshop, no doubt.
Yes. And so day one was amazing and fantastic. So good. Day 2, oh my gosh, I don't know. This is kind of on the spot. I know probably Jennifer or Janet don't have the workbook. I should have thought about that before we started, but we have an 84-page workbook that we went through. And in that 8 hours, I feel like you covered a week's worth. Literally, Jill and I were joining via Zoom, and we were like, this could be, like, you could literally do for each topic a whole day on each one. And it was such great information, super in depth. We're talking calculators, we're talking about pricing, we're talking about how much things cost and who your avatar is, and all things, all the questions. One of our members said, I had a whole list of questions and every single one of them was answered. So great news, people. We're having another one in May. And I think we have about 10 spots left. So you want to make sure you get your ticket ASAP. We'll put the link here for you. Get that. So we're not going to give you all the information, obviously, because we want you to be there. But Jennifer, Jana, kind of let's talk through some of the things that people need to know now in order to start implementing or start getting ready to implement this into their staging business, or if they just want to be an investor on their own.
Absolutely. You know, we're here as representing the home staging, the redesign industry. Yes, we continue to full on stage for property when it comes to selling their homes, no doubt about it, right? But we're also seeing the opportunity for short-term rental. You guys know we have talked about it for years now. It's been something that we have known. A shift has come in the staging industry, and the shift is here. Now, you could be in an area where you're not seeing a lot of short-term rental activity yet, but we do feel like this growth curve is doing this, right? It is an open opportunity. The future looks brighter than the past, and we can't necessarily say that about our staging industry. Let's be real. You know, virtual staging is here. It has been here. It continues with technology to develop. So we're all about making sure that our staging companies stay in business and they stay profitable. And we see that short-term rental is the play to go for most of our companies. So for us to hold these workshops and be able to at least inform our industry that this is here. How do you price? It is different. And just talk about all those points is so helpful to so many staging business owners. So whether you want to be the business, whether you want to serve the business, or both, this is a time to have those lessons learned. And that whole workbook, the whole workshop was all about drilling down different opportunities and avenues. And for us, when we go after that investor, the investor has the opportunity to be both sides of the business for us as well.
100%. And I love the fact that we really were able to dive deep into the process flow from the standpoint of both the business owner of creating the portfolio and the service provider, right? Because it is a different flow of process than from regular staging. So you need to know, like, you want to be able to provide these services, you need to know how to do it, because there are right ways to do it and there are not right ways to do it. There are a lot of pitfalls that you can fall into that can cost you time and money and frustration on your team. So just being able to be in the room, like Jana said, even if you don't want to build a portfolio for yourself, it is totally okay, because there is so much business to be had that you could literally have a staging company that did nothing but set up short-term rental and be so busy that you don't have time to take jobs, because there is that much business going out in right now. And these hosts need our services. They need their properties set up by professionals so that they can receive a great investment on a return on their investment.
No doubt about it. I mean, this industry is growing, it's pivoting, it is shifting. It's the Wild Wild West. There's a lot of things that are happening. And Jennifer knows, we literally, within our staging company, had a meeting on investment properties to go after and go purchase, of course, through a separate LLC. But that's what it's about. Why can we not create multiple streams of income and impact not only ourselves, but all of those that are working with the company, all of the opportunities that are out there through training and through action. And it just helps create more insurance and more security within our lives, within our businesses, that we don't have to just sit and wait for another job, a traditional job to come along. We can go create the business. And it's just an exciting time. We're seeing massive action being taken, not only by our companies, but those companies that are training with us.
Yes, that is so important. And Jana, what would you say, since this is, being broadcast to a couple different platforms at the same time, but let's talk to our staging community, fellow staging business owner. We love you. We understand your pain points. We want to see you succeed. I mean, HSRA exists to build businesses and leaders, and we believe in you. And so what would you say as a business owner, leader, multiple business owner, leader, short-term rental investor, why STR now? Why is it so important?
Well, it's important, Lori, I believe, because of the market that we are in. For many of us, we have a hot market. We've had a hot market, and we know that challenges come. Literally, we are becoming a renter's nation. There's little homes out there. We saw it today. We were looking at properties to purchase, and one of the properties, Jennifer may not even know this, one of the properties we settled on for an offer is already gone. It's already under contract, the one that's right in her area. So it's like, wait, this is happening so quickly. And so for our staging companies that literally are focused on, for most of them, vacant properties, there's very little vacant properties that are out there. And so we've got to know that this industry is continuing to progress in housing. Real estate is so, it is the asset, right? It is the asset class that keeps on giving. It keeps having an incredible ROI. So we're just a big believer in, guys, we have to pay attention to growth. We have to pay attention to technology. We have to pay attention to the writing on the wall that our staging companies could possibly be obsolete the more time. And we're not saying like death of the stager. I remember a report that was about 10 plus years ago. It was talking about death of the real estate agent because of the technology that was coming along. And we know realtors, great realtors, are still alive. They're still thriving, and they have niched into a certain category. If they're going to be the best, be a 1%er, be a 1% staging company. Know the writing on the wall and know where you have to pivot. Know how you have to create the different asset classes within your business, because the future is brighter than the past. So that's what we're doing here at HSRA and through our staging company, Model My Home. I mean, today we're out there staging. Our team is out there staging, no doubt about it. We're still setting up models, but guess what? We've added short-term rental into our portfolio. We're building our own book, and we're not over leveraged. We're not in a situation of decline. I don't want to be the staging company that this is a race to the bottom. It's the cheap staging company that lasts. You know, like, we don't want to compete on price. We want to compete on value. And if people don't value what we do, they're going to come up with different options, right? And not making a decision is an option. It's a decision. So we've got to say, you know, we got to keep this ball moving however we can. And I'm telling you, short-term rental has to get all of our attention.
It does. And I want to encourage the staging business owners not to be afraid of change. Like, you didn't start your staging business knowing how to do everything. You had to learn what was the best way to set up a room, what was the best kind of inventory to use, what was the best way to go after a client. So don't be afraid to learn a new skill and to jump into a new service aspect or way of doing things. And you're not going to understand all the lingo, and you're not going to understand everything that's being said in every room or space that you're in. But don't be scared to jump in with both feet and to be excited about the possibilities within real estate, because staging companies are a real estate service provider. We will always be a necessity in some way, shape, or form to help impact the real estate industry. So you can thrive in this environment and in this current market if you don't let fear stand in your way of growing into something new and exciting.
Absolutely. And I think that is so true. And in the 5 years that I've been here with Janet, I've been able to experience so many different home staging business owners. The ones that I have experienced through our HSRA membership, they are open to change. They realize, I think from my perspective, is I see that a majority of home staging business owners, it starts as a hobby. There's no, now we're just starting to get people like really thinking of it as a serious, like people coming in from the outside and saying, could this be a lucrative business for me? But you start as a hobby or as a side job, and then they realized that they needed support, business support. So something had to change. They couldn't just keep doing the things on the side. So what do? They invested in the education to get credentialed from whoever, to become a member of HSRA, to get the support and the coaching and the training that they need. And all of that are steps of change. So a lot of stagers, quite frankly, are like, well, I'm not doing STR. I don't do STRs. I don't, and sadly, in some places like Las Vegas, it's really hard to get an STR up and going because those big boy casinos, they're not messing around. They are not letting anybody in. Let's just be honest. So, but if you have that train of thought, you have to, as the business owner, have the mindset to go after and follow what's going on, what's bringing in business now. And I'm just going to say it, people. Janet had this discovery before she even knew what the discovery was about 2 years ago. She woke up in the morning and she said, be the business. And people were even asking in our community, what do you mean, Jen? And I don't even think we really knew at the moment, but here we are 2 years later, and she is being the business with her own book of business, several short-term rentals that she herself is running, and having her staging company style these units for her. This really makes Jana the expert in this, right? And so she's taking all of that knowledge, putting it together in an 84-page workbook. And the workbook speaks both to an investor and into a company who wants to style these. And so I just want to encourage any business owner out there, if you're stuck on one thing because it's not making sense, push forward a little bit, ask questions, reach out to us. We'll answer whatever it is. And by no means are we getting rid of any other type of training for staging. In fact, we have a business bundle that specifically just goes to our logistics, our services, our marketing, and our sales, just for those things that you struggle with in your business. But today's topic is on short-term rentals, and we see such value in it for you, and that's why we have this workshop. So if I've persuaded anybody, Jana, into thinking, maybe I'm going to start offering these services, and there is a great place that I think would be great for a short-term rental. What are a couple, like 3 or 4 things that they should be looking out for moving forward and saying, okay, I'm getting rid of the stinking thinking, I'm changing my mindset, I'm going for this. What are their next steps?
You know, when it comes to next steps and taking action, first, it has to be calculated risk, right? We want to reduce our risk factor, especially when we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars on properties. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars on our inventory and our teams and all of that. So calculated risk, that's why we want to make sure that we get the education, right? Continuing education, continue the learning. Don't just think that you have this figured out. And the beauty is you have plenty of people that are willing to walk this course with you, share, like learn, share, grow, right? Learn, share, grow. When we learn, then we get to share, and then we all get to grow together. So it's that exchange, Lori, like calculated risks. We don't want people to go out and really just, fire then aim. Like, this is about calculation. This is about the targets. We got to set our targets, and we have to get the training so that we hit those targets. People that want to start into short-term rental with their own book of business, there's a lot of risk that can happen. So making sure that you have the plan, that you know who your avatar is. We just talked about this on Clubhouse. We understand what that property is, an ideal attraction property. That's what we love to know that as, is attraction, right? It is an A attraction property, a class A that's going to just have the bells and whistles. We saw property when we were looking at them today and assessing, I don't like the deal. I don't love this property. We need to love the property. We need to know that we would have no problem earning that ROI on it. And then when it comes to serving the business, and we're like, well, let's take calculated risk. We know that with any new service that we're going to offer, there is a shortage of experience with. It's a new thing. It's a brand new thing. It needs new processes. It needs new procedures. Our teams have to be trained differently. Our logistics team thinks differently, plans differently. When we have an STR, a short-term rental project on the calendar, than they would a typical vacant stage. They're going to think differently. They're going to plan differently. So we have to understand that this does take a lot of pre-work. It is about pre-ordering. It's about pre-planning. It's about all of the communication that needs to be done with the client. It is lots of balls to juggle when it comes to the different services and that order, that assembly order that needs to happen to get a final product that someone's living in, right? And that is technology savvy and is set up and it looks amazing. I think that a lot of staging companies love also STR because they have that, they're the best They're the best. It's like the it's like a perfect marriage of design and staging, because we get to have a little fun. We get to be a little bit more creative. We get to be a little bit more edgy, if that is our choice and our avatar. And so it's all about like this new service that is, if design project and staging project had a baby, it would be STR. And so this, now it's thinking about, okay, people again are living in this space. What are their needs? What are their wants? What are their desires? And you guys know during that workshop, we broke that down. We put ourselves in the place. We designed properties together, and it was just a really cool environment. I think it got the creative juices flowing. Plus, we had the analytical side with all of the numbers and the calculations. We literally could assess, is this a good deal or not, with properties? So pretty cool.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we had our resident real estate agent in the house, Daniel, that he was able to share some knowledge with the staging business owners on how to speak to the agent, how to get the agent on board, and kind of how to train your agent to look for these. I mean, that was golden as well. Now, there's also another golden piece to that is, number one, he was just sharing as the agent, like what's going to get his ears perked up, right? But then also training, when you do that, you're showing the agent that you, the staging business owner, are the expert in this area. So that is growing your platform as well. And I think that's really important. And I think that was such a fun element to have in the workshop on top of tons of other stuff as well. But the great thing is that if this has caught your ear, if you're watching this today, whether you're on live with us or you're watching it later, there are people who help. We do have the list. You know, Jenna was talking about all the different things. And I mean, maybe Jennifer, you can share a little bit as to, yes, it is way more happening up front, but Model My Home has been able to take this and run with it, and they have it going like clockwork. And so maybe you can shed some light, being that you're on the staging side of it as someone who's helping direct and lead all of the staff members, how this can, you know, really improve your business from that standpoint, and how the team jumps in and helps and everything gets done.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's whenever they hear STR instead of the groans and, oh my gosh, this is going to be crazy. Now it's excitement, and when you are starting out, it is something new, and there can be, moments of frustration because people are, you've got to determine who's got what lane, right? Who's going to be in charge of kind of the design aspect and the inspiration boards, and who's going to be in charge of ordering, who's going to be in charge of receiving all the orders and assembling everything, who's going to be in charge of making sure that the painters are set up and the installers are set up for TVs and curtains. And I mean, there are so many different aspects of the service that go into it. And it's just a matter of deciding who's going to own what piece of the puzzle, so that when a job comes in, nobody freaks out. Everybody just says, all right, we got a job in the door. I know what my piece of the puzzle is. I'm going to handle my piece. And then when I'm done, if you need help with your piece, I'm going to come help you, right? And then it's all hands on deck. And then it's service delivered and smiles from the customer, because now they've got their unit on market. They didn't have to sweat or worry or do anything. They literally just took, they paid you, you did the service, and now they can list it on market. And the responses that we have gotten back from our clients, they are blown away. Like they're saying, I had no idea it could look like this. I had no idea it could look like this. And now they're booked. They're booked for solid. Like, they're like, what? I didn't even have any clue that it was going to be booked out 30 days or 60 days. I don't even have a vacancy in my unit. It's already booked out. So you can make believers out of skeptics when you come in and you set it up correctly and you know the processes, but you will not be able to put it this way, you can get there a lot faster and with a lot less headaches and heartburn if you know the ways to do it. And we have been through the headaches and the heartburn for you, so you don't have to do that. You can get in the room with us within these workshops, and not just with Model My Home. This is the beauty of these workshops. You're in the room with other companies. Model My Home is not the only company that is setting up these properties. And we had a bunch of people in this workshop that are running their own book of business. They're setting up for other people. They're bringing their best practices. We're all putting our heads together in this room, and we're coming up with ways for our industry to thrive within the short-term rental market, and for all of us to have less headaches and heartburn, which is better at the end of the day for all of us. So it's amazing.
No doubt about it. I mean, that is knowledge collaboration. It is just sharing at a whole nother level when we can have these workshops and just allow the freedom of hey guys, let's ask questions. You know, this for a lot of people, it is 101. For many, it was 201. And so to be able just to, like, you could see the wheels turning, literally turning. We had a couple in there that had just bought their first STR. They were about to get their own property set up as well. And they were like, our goal is to replace my wife's income. I think it was in the next year, and then to replace my income in the next 3 years. And so that is, I'm like, doable. That's done. You could absolutely take these models and make that happen, you know. And we've shared, I mean, my husband and I have we've had well over, like, I think we are right at 150, 160 that was brought in, $160,000 from properties that we had set up. And some of these weren't even for the full year. It's unbelievable what you can do. And when you think about anywhere trying to hit that 35% profit margin after everything is said and done, that can make such a difference in your household income. And you think about, now how do I scale this? And I want to replace my salary. You could absolutely do it, but you can't do it without a formula. You can't do it without a plan, and you can't do it without people.
Absolutely. And that's why we want you to attend the next master workshop that we have coming up. And it's going to be, there'll be a link in the chat right here, May 13th and 14th in Dallas, Texas. And if you did come to the first one, be sure to put your comments in here that you attended and how amazing it was. And you definitely want to come to the next one, because guess what? They're not going to be the same properties we're touring, right? As you heard Janice share today, they're already looking for new properties to invest in so that, you know, there's more properties available. And so I think it's such a great opportunity for anybody who's considering. You do not have to be an HSRA member, although we fully expect all of our HSRA family members to be there. You do not have to even be in the home staging industry. If you're just like, man, I always have wanted a short-term rental. I've always dreamed of it. I know I've always dreamed of it. You can come and you can attend, and there's a link. And for those of you that are not HSRA members, there's a $50 off discount for you. Go make sure you check that out. But most importantly, even if you don't come to our workshop, we want you to consider very strongly how many streams of revenue are coming into your business. How many services do you have available? Are you trained? Is your staff trained for those services? So that depending on what happens with the real estate market, because we can't control that, we're ready. Are you ready to be successful in 2022? Is your team ready to be successful in 2022? And if you have to think about it, don't worry, because HSRA is here to help you be successful this year and for many years to come. So final thoughts, wrapping up today, Jana. Big thing you want people to know about STR, workshop, HSRA, whatever. Final thoughts.
I would say don't discredit it. You know, for many people, the change is a little bit challenging and they're thinking new. I run, I have fear, I don't understand it. It's not for me, it won't work. Where do I find clients? I don't know where to start. So I think fear keeps us, you know, in the same place, and we run to what is normal. But the problem is we know there's not a normal anymore, right? Like normal is gone. And we've got to say now, okay, well, I never stop learning. We talked about that in our alignment meeting this morning. Like we have to continue to learn. We have to continue to be teachable, and that is so important when it comes to continuing education. So never stop learning. Never feel like you think you figured it out. That's the beauty of our community. That's what HSRA does. We build businesses and leaders through continuing education. We all had education at some point. We all had some training at some point, but where are we continuing to learn? Not yearly, but daily, weekly, monthly. Get in the rooms and get around some power players that are willing to share with you. And our community is not short of power players, let me tell you.
Awesome. Jennifer, last thought?
Just do it. I mean, just show up. I mean, show up for yourself, show up for your team, show up for your legacy and what you're leaving. I mean, we're talking about things that could literally build streams of generational wealth for you, for your family. And it's things that we can teach our kids and our kids' kids about how to invest, how to take money and turn it into what Sharon Lecter, our keynote speaker for Summit, says assets are sexy, right? And turn that into assets. It's things that we really weren't taught in school, but it's what we need to go forward, and it's where our culture, where our society is moving, it, you know, within this industry and things like that. So just do it. Just show up for yourself, show up for your business, and just do it.
Amazing. This has been such a great talk today. This has been literally life-changing for so many of our business owners. It has literally saved many, many of our HSRA members' businesses by doing this. And that's why we keep talking about it. That's why we're going to continue to talk about it. So if you are in our industry, we are here for you. Please reach out to us, myhsra.com. We are here to see you, your business, and your team grow this year and for many years to come. So we'll be back here, same time, same place next week. We can't wait to see you there. Thanks so much for joining today.